What's up everybody, it's Sean here back today to give you guys a review of the Action Bronson New Balance 992 in this Tiger Eye colorway. Today's video is sponsored by Quality. Quality is a Montreal-based streetwear brand, and it's a brand I've featured many times before in the past on my channel. Recently, they just launched their Fall and Winter 2025 line, and I'm a really big fan of what they dropped. It's a mix of super cozy pieces for the winter, like this printed fleece that I'm rocking right now. And there's also your everyday staples, stuff that you can layer on in the fall that can really help to elevate and build your wardrobe. So if you're looking for affordable, very high quality, and of course, very stylish pieces, check out Quality. I'll link their social media, their website down below. So show them some love and tell them that you heard about them through my channel. So this right here is the latest collaboration between Action Bronson and New Balance, but it's his first time collaborating on this Made in USA 992 silhouette. So this pair is nicknamed the Tiger Eye colorway, and they dropped back in September for a price of $240 US. The colorway for this shoe is golden brown and flame, and the style code is U992AB1. So like his past releases, the box of the shoe is very similar. It's done in this two-tone finish where the top lid is done in a bold, very vibrant shade of yellow. We have baklava branding right across the top. And then the bottom of the box, this is done in a natural brown finish. So it's a nice, unique contrast between the top and the bottom. As far as the shoe goes, so again, this is a Made in USA 992. And as we dive into the details, you'll see how the base layer of the sneaker on the toe box, this is covered in an extremely vibrant orangey red colored mesh. Above this, towards the tongue, we have a synthetic nubuck layer, and it's also overlaid on the sides of the toe box too. But then surrounding the front of the shoe, we have a genuine suede, which feels very soft to the touch. And this covers the eyelets of the sneaker, but then the top two eyelets, this is covered in a black TPU or plastic. Beneath this on the mid panel, we have more suede, but then stitched on top of this, we have the New Balance N logo. This is actually reflective, but it's done in this tonal tan or light brown colored finish. Next to this, we have more of that orangey red colored mesh with another synthetic nubuck layer on top. And then next to this, towards the heel, we have a reflective silver layer here with 992 branding found on the lateral side only. Underneath this, we have more of that fuzzy brown suede, and then pressed onto the lateral side, we have baklava branding, and then we have an oval shaped cutout in the middle, revealing an iridescent panel with USA branding on it. So depending on the angle that you're looking at it in, the color is going to look a little bit different. And then finishing off the back, at the very top of the heel, we have a genuine leather here, which is more of a flatter suede compared to the slightly shaggier suede beneath it. In terms of laces, so like any other Action Bronson New Balance collab, they only come with one lace option, and in this case, it's a boot-inspired rope-style lace, and this is done in two tones of blue. Underneath this, the bottom half of the tongue is covered in an open-style blue-colored mesh. However, on the top of the tongue, we have a genuine suede, and we have New Balance 992 branding. But you'll see how the panel where the 992 is, this again is also iridescent, just like on the heel. On the back of the tongue and the interior of the shoe, this is covered in a black colored liner, and then same thing for the insole. This is your typical 992 foam insole, and it's pretty well padded. And then on the heel, we have this baklava and New Balance co-branding, and this is done in a neon green shade. So the upper of the 992, it sits atop this midsole, which is quite chunky and has this flowing design to it. It combines a mix of Absorb, End Cap, and C Cap, so those three technologies, and you can see how we have Absorb SBS on the lateral forefoot and the heel, and this helps with impact protection and shock absorption, and by combining these three technologies, it's a major reason why the 992 is one of my favorites when it comes to comfort. Above this, we also have a TPU heel clip as well. This is done in a shiny black finish, and it helps to give you a little bit more structure and support around the heel of the sneaker. Turning the shoe over to the bottom, here we have your typical 992 outsole, so this is done primarily in black rubber. We have these grooves to give you some added flexibility, and then in the middle we have both New Balance and 992 co-branding. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this shoe. And for those wondering about how these fit, so I'm a true size 10, slightly on the wider side, but I usually go down to a 9.5 in a lot of New Balance's Made in USA models. So for example, the 992, 993, and the 990 V3, V4, V5, and V6, all of those models I go down to a size 9.5. So that's what I did with this shoe, but I found that there was a little bit of pressure around the ball of my foot right here where the laces start. So I don't know if it was just my particular pair or if it's the same across the board. It wasn't to the point where it was like too uncomfortable, but I felt a little bit of pressure around my foot, but it felt a little bit more snug than a typical 992. So if you have a narrow or normal width foot, I feel like you can still go a half size down, but if you have a wider foot, it might be better off if you just stick true to size. But whatever size you normally wear for the 992, assuming you don't have like a really wide foot, just stick with that same size and you should be okay. Next up, in terms of the comfort, so like I mentioned earlier, the 992 in my opinion is a very comfortable model, but it's not one that's going to be super soft and very pillowy straight out of the box. If you're looking for a model like the 9060 for example, the 992 is not going to be it. The thing I love most about this model though is that you feel very supported. It also feels very well balanced. So you're gonna have some step-in comfort, but at the same time, there's a lot of stability and a lot of support as well. So that means it's gonna be a great shoe if you're gonna be putting a lot of steps within a day. Assuming you're not someone that really needs an extra plush and very soft shoe, then I think most people should enjoy the 992 on foot. Finally, in terms of the quality and the craftsmanship, so first off, the material quality I thought was actually a bit elevated over a typical made in USA New Balance shoe. I like how they incorporated both a slightly shaggier suede as well as genuine leather panels on the tongue and the top of the heel. So this really felt like it was slightly above average as far as a New Balance made in USA shoe goes. And for the build of the shoe, I thought for the most part it was fine. It wasn't anything amazing. There were some very minor blemishes, but for the most part, the stitch job was good. It was free of major glue stains and the panels were consistent between my left and right feet. So all in all, no complaints. I was pretty happy with how this collab felt in hand. So with all that out of the way now, let me toss these on feet, I'll lace them up, and I'll show you guys how these look. As a collaboration, I think the materials and the build of the shoe delivered. But in typical Action Bronson fashion, the color choices of the shoe are really off the wall. And while I usually defend his color choices, I think for the most part in the past, they have worked. I think this particular shoe just really doesn't work for me. I think the main thing is really the mix of the brown with the black. There's just so much contrast between the two. They're really fighting for that attention. And I just don't really think they work well together. I can see this having that hiking shoe or trail shoe vibe to it, but I think if they had stuck with one over both, or at least minimized the use of the black and leave it only for accents, I think it would have looked a lot better. As of right now, they're sitting on pretty much every single website, so a part of me wouldn't be surprised if these were eventually discounted. It's just a pretty polarizing design, and I see a loud majority of people just not liking this colorway. So leave your thoughts down below, let me know what do you guys think about this Action Bronson New Balance 992 in this Tiger Eye colorway. What are your thoughts for those that actually have these in hand? And is this just a matter of waiting for these to go on sale, or are you just not a fan of this colorway and it's gonna be an easy pass regardless of how cheap they end up being? If you guys enjoyed this video, as usual, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I'll link my social media accounts down below for you guys to check out and follow. And again, another shout out goes out to Quality. Thank you for sponsoring today's video. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoy this review, and I'll catch you all in my next video.